Excuse me, sir. I have a few questions for you.
Another journalist? I didn't answer the first one, so piss off!
I'm not a journalist, I'm a doctor.
A doctor, you say? It's quite a rare breed in this part of town.
Really? But still, here I am. Dr. Jonathan Reed, at your service.
I'm Joe Peterson to some, but Colossus Joe to most. And I don't remember asking for your service, sir.
May I ask what you do around here?
I do whatever I want, and sometimes even more. Now sod off.
According to you, physicians are scarce in this part of town. Why is that?
Not familiar with this neighborhood, are you? I guess your fancy colleagues are too afraid of being stabbed in the back.
This part of town does have quite a reputation. Would you say it's justified?
Totally. Look at me, for instance. I always look my opponent in the eye before knocking him out.
Have you heard of a nurse named Dorothy Crane? She's a colleague of mine, and is supposed to live around here.
Dorothy Crane? Yeah, I know her. One of the few good souls who dare to help the sick around here.
Could you please tell me more about her?
She's a nice girl. Tries to help the migrants. I offered to give her a hand, but she said my reputation would attract too much attention.
Harry doesn't seem happy living in Whitechapel. Why did you make him come here?
I've always put my son's interests above everything else, whatever he may think. Our house is small but affordable. The walls are thin, but the door is solid.
You really love your son, don't you, Mr. Peterson?
He's my pride and joy. Even if he hates me for the choices I make and pushes me buttons more than he should.
Do you have any regrets?
Only one. Not to have my beloved wife by my side. She died when Harry was little. My sweet Jane. She gave the boy confidence.
Since the criminal nature of your job means you could be arrested, are you not afraid of what would happen to your boy if you were?
No one will ever take my son away from me. If that ever occurred, I'd hunt the bastard down and rip off his head with my bare hands.
Why do you keep on working for the gang, Joe? You know it doesn't suit you.
It's true, I hate this job. And I know I made some bad choices, but I'm a wet boot boy now. People won't forget it.
You could leave tomorrow. Start another life in another town.
That's easy for you to say, Doctor. We are poor. My son's weak, and there's no way he'll endure another disappointment.
Goodbye, Mr. Peterson.
supposed to...
Good evening, Xiaoshu.
Wang Shanghao, Dr. Reed. It's good to see you again.
What are you doing with your time, now that you're back in Whitechapel?
I've decided to help the poor and sick of the neighborhood by handing out medicine.
That's very charitable of you. But why do it at night?
I've noticed that the most desperate people tend to go out after dark. Hence my presence, to help them when I can.
Giving out medicine? How can you afford to do that?
I am a rich widow, Dr. Reed. My departed husband left me enough money to last the rest of my life. I can spend some on those who don't have any.
Why don't you move to a better neighborhood?
I thought about it, I confess. To go back to the same empty home every day still hurts me a lot.
Why stay here then?
I am a woman of habit, Dr. Reed. And for now I am happier being useful in a familiar place than I would be anywhere else.
How do you feel now that you're back in Whitechapel?
I've decided to follow your advice, sir. I won't forget the dead, but my efforts will be for the living.
I've no doubt. That is a wise and useful attitude in this part of town.
To be completely honest with you, I am also doing this for myself. If I'm destined to survive this epidemic, I need my life to have some purpose.
Do you still think about your departed husband?
Of course I do. I'll never forget my beloved Matthew, but how do I put it? Now I miss him more than I want him back.
I know what you mean. And I think it means you're getting better.
Maybe death will take me the way it took Matthew. Without warning and without mercy. But until then, I live on.
Goodbye for now. Are you all right?
The bastard hit the wall next to me. I don't even know if he meant to miss.
If you've been hurt, I can help you. I'm a doctor.
Name's Albert. Remember it. Now bugger off.
What happened? Did you really steal that man's medication?
Hey, I didn't do anything. It ain't me.
All right. Perhaps the poor drunk just confused you with someone else.
Sod off, mister. You ain't got no clue what's going on here. Bastard was a soldier in the war, so now he's got the right to shoot me?
It's true. I'm not familiar with this part of town. Perhaps you could help me.
I said sod off. Go find yourself another guide.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? If you know anything about her, I'd appreciate it.
Never heard of her. She's pretty, I'll keep an eye out.
I found the recruiter you were expecting. He's dead, but he carried a note. The Wet Boot Boys have accepted your application.
I knew it! I told you I was tough enough. I'll be free soon.
This note was found on a dead man, Albert. If that doesn't change your mind, then you must be ready to face the risks.
You're all fancy words, none of which concern me. Go worry about someone else. I'm fine and I have a future here.
Do you need assistance?
Please. Feeling tired these days.
There you go. Let's hope nobody steals it from you.
Very funny.
Goodbye, young man.
I'll not die in some piss-stinking alley drinking worse than a week-old laffy. I won't end up another drunk arsehole littering the streets.
What? Shooting a boy in the middle of the street. Not the best thing to do, wouldn't you say?
What? You saw what happened? Who are you?
I'm Dr. Reed, and I'd like to ask you a few questions, if you promise me to set your gun aside.
No. Look, I'm not a violent man. I'm Benjamin Palmer, doctor. And no one can help me. Not even you.
What can you tell me about this place?
Nothing to say, really. This is where I used to live, and this is where I live now.
You don't have anywhere to go? No family that would welcome you?
Not since the death of my wife, Albert's mother. She was sick, you see. Long before the flu and all this shit.
You mean you used to have a better life?
Yeah, I had a wife, a home, and a job. I even used to have a name. Now I'm just Ben. Ben the Tramp.
Perhaps you could focus for a moment and tell me your troubles.
I'm sick, broke, and my son just stole my pills. Everything's coming up roses.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? Have you heard anything?
It's funny, I've been searching for her too. I need some pills. But the woman is a phantom, if you ask me.
Really? And why is that?
Word is she ain't real. She's a cover for some doctor who runs an illegal dispensary for migrants.
Whatever the boy did, I'm sure he didn't deserve a public execution.
I swear I didn't want to hit him. It's just that I'm sick in the head, you see, and the boy just frayed me last nerve.
What is it, Benjamin? It was the war, wasn't it? Your nerves are shot, aren't they? I need some answers, Private. From one soldier to another.
The doctors called me a liar, a coward. Put me in a straitjacket, locked me up. Finally, they sent me back to the front lines with a handful of tablets.
It's a pity that doctors still practice such barbaric methods. It's a dishonor to our profession.
Now only the pills stop me thinking about this shit. To not hear the explosions. I'm even scared of the dark these days.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy?
It's funny, I'll be...
Really?
Word.
You don't seem well, Benjamin. Do you need any help?
I always feel ill, sir. It's like I'm never right.
I can try to help your body heal, sir. But you must stop destroying it.
The war destroyed me, Doctor.
A gun, alcohol, and a bad temper make a terrible cocktail, sir. Goodbye for now.
When science fails you, this elixir will give you faith again.
Good evening, miss.
Good evening, sir. Are you interested in a miraculous cure for this unknown and deadly epidemic?
Actually, I am.
Then you have come to the right place. The famous Swanborough cordial is all you need to help keep you in perfect health.
Oh, really? Why didn't I hear about it during my studies? I'm Jonathan Reed, by the way. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Ah, my brother has spoken of your research, sir. I'm Loretta Swanborough, and it's always a pleasure to meet a fellow healer.
Tell me, who intrigues you most in Whitechapel?
The region itself is something to see, but I would say Camellia the mute florist who gives away her flowers.
What do you think of the locals?
Most of them are afraid or desperate. They all come to me eventually for my remedy.
Is there anyone I should avoid?
Cadogan Bates, without a doubt. The bloody bastard remorselessly exploits poor migrants as soon as they get here.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
I don't like to talk about competition.
Competition, you say?
Never met her, but it seems she provides some sort of medical care to the poor. The whole thing has to be some sort of scam, if you ask me.
I'd like to see what kind of medicine you're selling.
It's time to see if this Christina is still working.
Good evening, sir. Do you remember me?
If you're here for a reward, you'll be sorely disappointed. But I'll gladly shake the hand of a fellow countryman.
I'm not here for a bounty. I'm a doctor. Dr. Reed from the Pembroke.
A doctor? In Whitechapel? What an opportunity. My name's Bates, Cadogan Bates.
Do you require assistance, Mr. Bates?
Not me, but your skills could help a lot of people round here. That would help my business, because I say, a live tenant's a paying tenant.
It's unusual to see someone so happy around here.
Why should I be sad?
That's an unusual way of seeing things in these...
I don't see why I should shed it.
What is your business?
I offer fair lodgings for...
I see.
Well, deals can be done.
In other words, you
Begging your pardon, I thought you was a man who could have...
What help could I possibly...
That's simple. I already get...
Mr. Bates, do not make me
I understand, Dr. Reed, you're from...
If I were entering into the world of street medicine, it would be on my terms and without such...
So it's a no, then. That's too bad.
Tell me...
People are just beginning to discover what we...
What do you mean?
People are acting like the violence is new.
I'm looking for...
Dorothy Crane, bless her.
Tell me truthfully.
By keeping my tenants alive...
Has she treated...
No.
You seem to have recovered well since...
Not much. It was a fucking night...
You'd better not come back here. I want to know everything about...
Well, rent may be a bit hard.
Take this as my final warning.
Really? What you gonna do?
Goodbye, Mr. Bates. Mr. Bates.
Eve.
Since I took...
Well, see...
Infecting you...
Whoa. You give me this for free?
Goodbye, Mr. Bates.
What do you want? Leave me alone.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I'm looking for Nurse Dorothy Crane.
There is no Dorothy Crane here. Now, goodbye.
I'm afraid this medical leaflet says the opposite, sir.
Really? Well, I'm afraid I'm going to close this door right now. Go bother someone else, Mr. Doctor.
To enter that house, I must discover who this man really is. I must insist, sir. Please let me...
I have no time.
I must insist, sir.
I have no... District seems to get uglier every year.
You're mine, vermin! To you! Fuck! Come back, you! Let's pin it down!
Done! Off you chop! Die, vermin!
Smells like rotten meat. One near, I know it.
Burn it, boys! All of you bloody Indian feeling.
Joe, please. You again? What do you want this time?
Goodbye, Mr. Peterson.
Welcome, sir. Please, take a browse of my wares.
I'm Dr. Reed. I would like to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind.
Doctor? Interesting.
How is business?
Business? I have no business.
I see. Sounds like you...
It's no secret Joe Peterson spends his time harassing...
As a merchant?
What you mean, besides the epidemic?
Violent?
Yeah.
Where did this happen?
In the closed workshops nearby.
Have you been hurt?
No, but that's only because I racked...
Have you...
Nurse Crane.
Yes, she's a nurse. And quite a good one.
Dorothy Crane ain't even a real name.
That doesn't explain why she...
Your precious Nurse Crane gives away medic...
Right then.
Fancy buying something, sir?
You never lose your focus, do you? Goodbye for now, Mr. Lewis.
You again?
How did you become the local bully everyone is afraid of, Joe?
There's no pride in roughing up poor bastards. But this is the only job I've found. And it pays well, too.
A job? So you're racketeering for someone else?
I got enlisted by the Wet Boot Boys, a gang from the docks. I'm their muscle for their dirty work.
Most people don't become thugs.
I don't care what you think, sir.
I'm not sure Mr. Lewis would agree with your...
Oh, do you really think he's the poor victim?
Goodbye, Mr. Peterson.
Let your guard down, sir.
Good evening.
It's far.
I have heard enough for tonight. Goodbye. Good evening.
And good evening.
Do you need medical...
It may be what
I understand.
the nutrition of my mum.
I'll leave you alone, sir.
Good evening, Doc.
Christina Popper claims she sells her...
Of course I do.
Do you think things will ever change?
I believe the situation can only...
Do you need assistance?
That would be nice of you, Doctor.
If you persist...
Thank you, sir.
Goodbye, Mr. Darby. Farewell. Good evening.
Change.
Do you need any...
It...
I am shocked.
Forgive my suspicion. I'm so
Goodbye, miss. Take care of yourself as best you can.
How long have we known each other? We even used to be neighbours. Fancy buying something, sir?
You never Joe Peterson. He's the villain here.
I've known Joe for years.
What can you tell me about Mr. Peterson?
Colossus Joe was a decent boxer. Good one, he...
It's never easy to find a new path in life.
We've all had some rough times, ain't we?
And no one has ever...
Nobody would be fool enough to...
What do you know of Harry?
Harry's a good boy, but he spends most of his time...
What troubles him exactly?
Well, despite being his father's son.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Lewis. Good evening, Harry. May I come in?
Sure. Sure. Even my dreams are soaked with gloom.
So,
I'm not bothered.
do you need it?
Yes, I do.
I will see you later. Your father and Mr.
I was young then. I don't remember
But you are not...
Am I not? Dad,
Have you tried
I don't go out often, but yes.
Do you know...
Yes.
Goodbye, young man. Take care of yourself.
Even my dreams.
Is no match for the Swanborough cordial.
Someday you'll understand.